Well, U.S. homelessness has jumped to another record high. Recently released data from the Department of Housing and Urban Development reveals the number is up 18% from last year's count, which had also risen from the previous year. The survey was conducted on one night in January of this year. It found more than 770,000 people were in shelters, temporary housing, or had no shelter at all. The main reasons for the rise in homelessness include lack of affordable housing, a dramatic increase in migrants, and devastating natural disasters forcing people from their homes. And joining us now to talk more about this and the best way to approach the crisis is George Mullen, co-founder of Sunbreak Ranch, a homeless triage center based in San Diego, California. George, good to be with you. I know this is an issue that's near and dear to your heart. Are you at all surprised about this big increase in homelessness?
Thank you for having me, Tracy. No, not surprised at all, sadly, because we've watched the deterioration out here, and we're in San Diego going on for about 10 years, and every year it gets worse. So we're not surprised at all, but it's a pretty extraordinary jump of 18%.
Yeah, it definitely is.
And if they're saying there's 770,000 homeless, the reality is it's probably well north of 1 million because there's always undercounting in all these cities for a variety of reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. And family homelessness was among one of the concerning trends. That was up nearly 40%, due in part to the arrival of many migrant families. You're in California, as we mentioned, which has the largest homeless population in the U.S. Is this a trend that you're seeing in the Golden State as well?
Well, yeah, the trend is it's extraordinary just watching year over year how it's changed. And the figure that we really use, it's really hard to get an exact count on the numbers, but in 2019 in the San Diego region, 165 homeless persons died, which is a large number of people. In 2023, 624 homeless persons died. That's an increase of 280% in 3 years, since 2019 to 2023. This isn't a crisis, it's a catastrophe. And it should be, all hands on deck to bring about a solution, but it's not happening.
Yeah, and let's talk about that, George. What do you think is the solution here? And how is your group trying to help out in that regard?
Yeah, well, we represent Sunbreak Ranch, and anyone can take a look on at our website, sunbreakranch.com, to really understand what we're trying to accomplish. But we have a lot of big names involved and small names. We're business people, artists, writers, et cetera, that came together to go after this problem because we saw it's a humanitarian disaster. People all over our streets in pain and suffering. And the politicians just keep talking and throwing money at it. So we came up with the concept of Sunbreak Ranch. And really what it is, it's triage first, a triage place where everyone can go, where we have emergency medical services, we have all the homeless service providers, we have beds, the whole 9 yards to try and help each person identify what's going on with them and move them on to the next step. It's not meant to be a permanent, long-term place, but each city could have one of these triage centers and alleviate incredible amounts of suffering and pain and clean up our cities. I'm a native San Diego, and I've watched over the last 10 years our once very beautiful city turn into what looks more like a homeless camp, a shanty town at this point. It's extraordinary, but it's the suffering comes first. And since this is an audience that has a great deal of faith, we all know about Jesus, and Mary and Joseph didn't have a home, and they were in the inn in Bethlehem. As fellow human beings, we need to seek to help our fellow human beings, get them off the street and try and help them. I mean, what's going on is unacceptable. Not just San Diego, across California and America, largely.
Yeah, it's very tragic. And thank you for doing what you're doing, George. We appreciate it. God bless you.
Thank you. We appreciate it.